Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, dear brothers and sisters. Welcome to our program, Spiritual Fireside Chat. Tonight, our guest is going to be Dr. Shamim Ibrahim. Before I introduce her and the topic, I would like to recite a verse related to our topic. And then afterwards, inshallah, I am going to introduce the topic and then also our esteemed speaker. And then we will start our discussion, inshallah. Let me put the verse on the screen. While I'm reciting, please pay attention to the meaning of the verse. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا لتسكنوا إليها وجعل بينكم مودة ورحمة إن في ذلك لآيات لقوم يتفكرون صدق الله العظيم. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Dear brothers and sisters, before I introduce our topic and the speaker, I would like to give you a brief information about the format. Our speaker will speak about 30 minutes, inshallah. And if you have any questions during the session, during the presentation, please post them during the program so I can ask those questions to Dr. Shamim, inshallah. So as you saw on the screen, tonight's topic is domestic violence awareness, an important topic, which is also called domestic abuse or family violence. So for this subject, we have an esteemed speaker, Dr. Shamim Ibrahim is with us. And Dr. Shamim is the founder and executive director of two nonprofit organizations. The first one is Niswa Association, Inc., and the second one is Asra. Niswa is a social welfare organization to aid and uplift the Muslim community and other immigrant minorities in all aspects of their needs since 1990. She also founded the organization, nonprofit organization called Asra, to help Muslim schools attached to masjids towards the tuition help for needy students. And Dr. Shamim is a licensed marriage family therapist also. She was elected the board of the Islamic Center of Southern California in 1982 and was board chair for education. She was a counselor and foreign student advisor for the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, and adjunct professor of counseling and psychology at Heritage University in Spokane. So she has had a long career in Los Angeles Unified School District as a psychologist, and after retirement was called back to coordinate the State Department of Education Healthy Start program at a LA USD Middle School. So her involvement with the Islamic Center of Southern California still continues, alhamdulillah, and we thank Dr. Shamim for that as well. And for the great work that she has done and she's still doing. And may God bless her and bless her family members. So with this, I would like to invite Dr. Shamim Ibrahim. Please help me welcome Dr. Shamim Ibrahim.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, Dr. Shamim.
I thank you for inviting me to this program. Zoom is a new kind of instrument for me, but I'll do my best. I have been speaking at the Islamic Center Sundays program over so many years on the uplift of our community, on health and domestic violence. And so this pandemic has kind of sabotaged that program. And now I'm becoming used to doing it on Zoom, and this is my first baby step. So anyway, when I came to this country, the word domestic had different connotations for me. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The word domestic I knew as a middle school and as a high schooler was domestic science. So in the schools, domestic science was focused on managing your life better. Your money, your household, and things like that. So maybe it was the first step in my life that led me to the second step. When I came to this country, I came to know domestic violence. And I thought, oh my gosh, what a difference between domestic science and domestic violence. And the way I was introduced to domestic violence was, I had met a young lady at a social function early in my arrival here. And she called me one day and she said she's trying to escape her abusing husband, and she has no support system here, and she will have to weather his abuse, which she felt that was going to bigger lengths than just verbal. So she said, I want to get away. What should I do? This was in the end of 70s. And I had no idea about domestic violence, resources and all that, because I was still in different fields. So I brought her to my home and she stayed with us in my home till she escaped to another state, thank goodness. And then another time there was this woman with 2 children who was also trying to escape, and yours truly was there, and we kept her in our home. So that my colleagues in the psychology department, they said, hey, Shamim, what are you doing? You need to get some training in domestic violence. So, and then I connected with the Rainbow Services. It's one of the biggest organizations over here in domestic violence help. And they had started calling me because there were Middle Eastern, Muslim, non-Muslim, Asians who they needed some cultural understanding and religious understanding. So I was a volunteer over there for a while, and I learned the whole system as to what it entails to be a victim, and what it entails to do the resources. So, so Rainbow Service was my first training ground, and it is still there, my sister organization. And finally, the executive director, who was very instrumental in getting the law, federal law passed, that was the Bhava Violence Against Women Act. Her name was Connie McFall. She said, Shamim, you need to open your own shelter. And so that is what I did with the help of a donor who bought us a building. But that was in 1995. But our NISFA work started in 1990, helping people with their whatever they need, rent, food, legal services. So we had a whole list of resources and people who were very helpful to us. So now about the domestic violence, finally I learned it. And we have operated our shelter since 1996. And everybody knows what violence is, but I would like to introduce the concept of the wheel of domestic violence. The wheel of domestic violence, it's a wheel of violence, and then there is a wheel of non-violence. This is the training we give to people who, when we give the training to people about what is domestic violence, and they get 40-hour training, and then they get the license as counselors of domestic violence, and they can work in any shelter or anywhere with that license to help victims. So it is not just women who are victims, there are men victims too, because I get this, because of the name of our organization, NISWA, which I feel is the plural of Nisa. So people ask me, you only help women, what about the men? If there is one woman in 4, which is she's a victim of domestic violence, there's one man in 7, he's a victim of domestic violence. So it is not just women we help both. So now they're talking about the wheel of domestic violence. The central idea within that wheel is power and control. And the wheel of non-violence, which reflects the Islamic and Quranic exhortations, is the wheel of equality. That is the central thought of the non-violence wheel. So what is it there is in this wheel of domestic violence? There is sexual abuse, physical abuse, violence, and also coercion, using of intimidation, using of economic abuse, using emotional control, and using male privilege and isolation, and denying and blaming, and using children as pawns. This is the worst part of the family breakup or family, problems. And the wheel of non-violence, where equality is the central thought, there is the ideas of compromise, non-threatening behavior, non-judgmental listening, trust, and money decisions. This is a very big key in most of the problems that we see in our clients. And then responsible parenting. This is most necessary, because I'll tell you a little bit later about how it affects the children. Okay. Then the types of abuse, of course, are, physical, emotional, sexual, financial. When we have had a big problem with the financial component, because what happens is when there is some problem between the families, the male is the main wage earner. Male is the one who buys the property. When there is going to be a breakup, what does he do? Transfers all his property to somebody else, his parents or his mother or brothers. And so the woman, she suffers the violence, and then she suffers the financial strictures because she has nothing and she's out on the street. That is where and then the threats are there. The threat of starvation, the threat of being homeless, the threat of being sent back, deported, because most of the immigrant women are coming with the husband's, immigration status. And then there is what happened was this thing became too much. And in the time of Bill Clinton, and with the advocacy of all the organizations, where the law was passed, which is called VAWA. This is Violence Against Women Act. So now, even if this threat is not so bad now, that the woman will be deported if the husband has a problem with her. And we have had such peculiar cases come to us. One of those was the woman arrived and she found some other woman also in the home. And then she was told that you have been brought here as a housekeeper. Very many peculiar things about what Niswa had faced through our 1975 to now. So the problem is the domestic violence occurs in all classes, rich, poor, and everything. The rich men here, they have a problem also. The rich wives also have a problem for whatever reason. And then we have a problem with people from all status, rich, poor, highly educated women. Recently, we did have, not recently, over the years, we've had women who have been doctors, the immigrant women. And when they came to this country, if there was an extended family over here, then the extended family was the primary abuser in many cases, because she was not allowed to study for the first step for medicine. So our latest client was a doctor who had big problems with the facts that she was abused and even physically abused. So one of the problems with our culture, we have different cultures coming, Hispanic, Arab, Pakistani, Indian, Hindu, Muslim, Christians, all have been through our, but the bottom line is patriarchy has ruled the world up till now. That's the bottom line. So all the cultures have this basic, even here, have the basic, element of patriarchy, of the supremacy of the man, even though most of the religions, and our religion mostly, alhamdulillah, says that we are all equal, we have rights, women have rights, Islam gave us rights. And these women who come, they do not want to wash their linen, dirty linen, and that is how they have been brought up. Keep your problems to yourself, number one. Secondly, they are here, they are in isolation because everybody they know is through him. And thirdly, if he sends them back to their country, then it is a shame on her parents, because it's a stigma. Talaq is a stigma. So all kinds of traditions impinge on this woman. And what else impinges on this woman is isolation. She's isolated. She has nobody. Where is she going to go? She has no support system. She does not know the language very well. If she's educated, it's a different thing, but still the isolation impinges on her. She doesn't know the laws of this country. She doesn't know who's going to help her. And luckily, if they call us, we are there, and many organizations, regardless of whether they are Muslim or not, they will help. So the factors that stop these women from being helped is, I can quote you a case which there are women who have been murdered. And there was one woman, her name is Asia Zubair Hassan, and she was the founder, very highly educated lady, founder of Bridges TV, a television channel to give Muslims a fair portrayal in the media. She established it in Buffalo, New York. This was a 37-year-old mother of 2 children. She was beheaded by her husband. According to Buffalo News previously, she had called police 3 times, multiple times, to the couple's home on reports of domestic violence. But the problem was the police prepared orders of protection against him 3 times. but she refused to press charges. This is the biggest problem the women face about trusting outside agencies to kind of enter their domestic problems. And then she was beheaded. And there's another, there are 2 or 3 women, very sad, but this is the problem, cultural and traditional problem with women, immigrant women who come from Middle Eastern countries, Pakistan, India, Malaysia. And so the isolation, the lack of language, the lack of support, these are all many factors. And maybe you have all noticed this in some interaction with some people. So, so these are the barriers because, and the first thing, the threat, you will be deported. I'm going to send you back. So she has these problems. Then the characteristics of, we have Niswa victims over the years, we have observed them, why they stay, you know. Women stay for financial reasons, as I said a little bit, and there's so much tight control on finances that she has to give the receipts, and this is a common factor when we deal with the women. The first staging is he demands the receipt even if she goes to the shopping. So anyway, and then the emotional reasons. She has no source of income. She sacrifices her own safety for the children. That is the main thing. And excuses his behavior, just as I told you about Asia Zubair's husband's problem. And then the cultural reasons for South Asian women, regardless of their religion. Once you have entered the husband's house, the way to leave it is only when you die, believing that divorce will bring great shame on her family. If she's sent back to the house, home country, the community there will be abuzz with negative rumors about her family. If there are other unmarried daughters in the family, it would be hard for them to find a husband. As one sister has been divorced, it will be a black mark. So she feels protective of her family in the old country and afraid they may be harmed by his family. Okay, another, this is a very real threat, because he says, okay, if you go back, I'll send you back. But if you don't stay and behave, I will see that that family of yours is harmed over there. The other thing with the extended family here is the son brings his wife, and then there is a whole horde of relatives here from the old countries, and they behave in the same way as if they were in the old country. When the prophet said that the paradise is under the feet of the mother, this happens, and I respect that. I'm a mother too. But what he meant is a loving, benevolent, kind mother. But the husband, if there is an extended family, he feels like, who is he to please? His mother? Or shall he give some value to what the wife is saying? So he has a pressure also that we recognize. And that is why I advocate that we should have mediation. The Islamic centers must create committees for mediation, and they should be trained in mediation. There should be, because over the so many years since I've been here in 71, I've been doing mediation by myself, but I feel that Islamic Center holds a certain power over us in the community. And what the Imam and a committee from the Islamic Center can do is mediation before the it goes to such deterioration. That is a must. And at one time we did some imam training also for this reason. And I have a copy of this. One of these days I will send it to Brother Asim. But we must do the training and have a committee, which is very important. So we would see less of domestic violence, inshallah. We hope so. And then the major problem, I was reading a statistic that the majority of the young men, the men in the prisons, they have, the 75% of them have been the product of abusive homes, the prisoners. And the effect on the children of parents, domestic problem is very long lasting. We have a mother whose children have gone to court because the father has the custody, mother has no money, so mother is visiting different shelters. They have gone to the court, and the child, an 8-year-old child under threat from the father, has stood witness and told the court, yes, I saw my mother. Many men came and had sex with my mother. What a burden this man has put on this child. When this child is 18, what kind of personality he will have and what kind of depression and anxiety he will have. There has been a suicide of a 17-year-old. Just this kid had said things against the mother. And so the abuser does not stop even utilizing his children to do this. So as I have to say this, that we have had clients who were men, and we have tried to mediate between them and the women. Women have been abusers in a different way. And those are, threats about calling to the police unnecessarily and, to get their way. I mean, the women have not been the angels. So please, I'm not standing here pleading for the women. We have seen men and we have tried to help them too. So anyway, the children are the ones who suffer the most. Let me see, is my notes on the children. Just one moment. What happens is the child learns from his father how to treat others. So what happens is the effects of exposure to domestic violence, that could be adopted by the child for his own interpersonal management strategies. That is the greatest changer. A child exposed to the father's abusing behavior is at the strongest risk for transmitting violent behavior to the next generation. So they learn to use violence as a strategy to mediate their needs. So violence is meant to assert one's will over the will of another. So the boys learn this, and the girls learn that violence is normal and can become more accepting of violence within their relationship. This is what the kids learn. And we deal with these kids, and my heart really breaks when I hear about a kid talking against his mother in the court and saying things that the father has put in his mouth. And this has happened many times. So anyway, if I'd be happy to talk about anybody who has questions, if the time is up.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Shamim. This is really such an important topic. I have one question here from one of our listeners. The question is, when a claim of violence comes to your organization, what investigative efforts do you do to ensure that the claim have merit before you take steps? Our religion is of just. What safeguard do you take to not help the abuser who claimed to be a victim?
Okay, when the victim comes to us saying that she is in fear of being killed or fear of being maimed, we cannot just wait and investigate. No organization can do that. When the victim says she's a victim, that she has already called the police, then we have to give her the shelter first. And then we have to look into the resources. Then we have to analyze, whether the police report, we have to take her word at that moment. Because if something like that happens to that Asia, the girl who was beheaded, then I think about us as mediators for a person who might lose their life or who might lose a limb. So we will not analyze or not do anything. When a person comes to us and claims, it is totally confidential. We are not going to say that Mr. Khan, Ali Khan was, his wife came to us and she has been abused by him. No, this is totally confidential. We will have her, we'll take the intake and we'll give her support and shelter. And I have to tell you one more thing, that the women go 3 times back to the person. The 4th time, 5th time, then it is total finish. That is the problem. Now, if we cannot analyze, we are not going to analyze or find detectives or find people to vouch for the husband. That, oh, no, he didn't do it. His friends may get wind of us and may come and tell, oh, he's a very nice person and all that. He may be nice, but he may have done something that made this mother to run away. So we have many cases where women all over the United States, the woman, whether she's Muslim, non-Muslim or anything, she goes back 2 to 3 times. And then finally she makes a decision. That's, right. Yeah, but we are not going to go out and spread the word about this man is or take witnesses that he's the abuser. We have to take a word at that moment.
Great, thank you. And we have 3 more questions, but before these questions, I have a question for you. I see that you are a family and marriage therapist. Are you still practicing, Dr. Shamim?
Yes, I practice, still practice.
Good to know. It's good to know, so I can refer.
Till I disappear, I think I will be in this business.
Great.
Yeah, people should, I won't tell you my age.
Alhamdulillah, mashallah, you're looking good. So, and the next question is, what is your effective rate in terms of recovery and resumption of normalcy?
Now, that is a very big question about normalcy. What is normal? Is this normal for the woman to go back to the abuser? I'm looking in the context of domestic violence, okay? Normalcy to me is where the husband and wife have that wheel of non-violence, equal rights that Islam has given us. I'm talking about Muslim women. But I will tell you one of the problems with South Asian women, including myself. As we grow up, even our men, it is very important for us to read the Quran from the first page to the last page in Arabic. Okay, that's fine. And even my friends and acquaintances tell me, oh, during the Quran, I have finished the first Quran from first page to the last page, I have recited. All right. But what does God say? Reason, think, and understand. Okay. So this is the problem that women, I have a PowerPoint, which I use with the women, where I write down all the Quranic ayahs, which give us women power, which was never given before in any religion except Islam. We have, my mother owned her property in her own rights. And so now this is so amazing that, and including myself, I became a Muslim in name. We had that ceremony where I recited the first, all of us, recited the first Iqra, and then we started reading the Quran alphabet, and then we graduated to reading the Quran. And when we finished the Quran, we had a great ceremony. No birthday can match that. So that was it. But are we the women who come to us, whether they are Arab or non-Arab, whatever, even the Christians, they don't know that, we make a program. We have a PowerPoint. I'll share it with you, Brother Asim, because you might critique it for us. And that is where we say that we are not born out of the rib of Adam, okay? This is a Christian concept which we have adopted. So, and there are women authors like Dr. Aziza Al-Hibri, and I have a list of those, and I will send it to you guys, that we need to read what they say from the way we react to this violence and all that. We have to stand up to the man and say, show me in the Quran, where does it say that your behavior is validated in the Quran or not? So it is a fault of the women also. The world was ruled by patriarchy, okay? So, but what's the matter with the women when Islam gave us so many rights, and why are we going to tradition? Tradition is different, cultural tradition. And what the Quran says is different. And so that's what we have to bring it together. That is my point of view.
Yeah.
And I will challenge anybody. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Shamim. And the next question is, do you know a strong lawyer who can help a woman get a divorce?
There are many lawyers, but there are legal aid foundations. There is a law offices of. We have a list. We will send it to you if you want. So who will do pro bono?
Yeah, can they reach out to you? Like, is there best? What is the best to?
They can call our office day and night. We have a hotline, and we will give you the hotline as well.
Perfect.
During the day, we have an official office line, but that converts into hotline at night.
Great. Yeah. For the person who asked this question, please reach out to Niswa, so to get your
I can give the number now if she wants it.
Sure. Great. Thank you. And then the next one is your agency attaining a state and federal funds?
Yeah, yes. We receive. We are partners with the Los Angeles County Office of Domestic Violence, and we receive funds. They send us also victims of domestic violence, and they send us many clients. And the grant that they give us is used to help clients. Okay, I'll explain how NISWA operates. NISWA, our operating costs come from the grants. Islamic Relief USA, IRUSA, has been a partner and a supporter for us for a long time. The first grant that we got was from Islamic Relief. And donation and the community all over United States donates us money, and that donation, whether it is zakat or just a donation, is used to help for other needs. Like we have people who cannot pay their rent, who need computers, grocery, any need that comes up. We paying rent even, we pay rent. And then we helped Afghan refugees when they first came, Bosnian refugees, Syrian refugees. We worked with the Islam International Rescue Committee, and we paid rent for so many. So the donations that come to us from our community are spent, all of them, on helping people. Okay, but the grant money that comes gives operating costs. Our rent, the salaries, they are paid from the grant monies, but the money donations are to help people.
Thank you for clarifying that, Dr. Shamim. Before the next question, there's a nice comment saying that please do more sessions of this with the info she sends you. Many women will benefit, inshallah. So hopefully in the future we can have similar type of programs together, inshallah. And the next question is, what if the man doesn't accept the Quranic rights of women? The question is. And
Right.
before that, actually, I'm just going to interject my, thought. Do you think, like, when there's a problem coming from the man's side, are they really using the Quran as reference? That this is a, human problem. Do they refer to Quran saying that,
They, they will
dominant? I don't know.
they will use the Quranic verses and interpret in their own way. So there are some verses in
They
the
use it?
Quran. Yes,
The
they
man,
do.
when there's a problem, man brings up those verses, or is it just a human problem, personality or maybe character?
Oh, some men definitely
They do.
use, which is that I I have a list of those that they use it. They use anything when they are mad, when they are angry. So you can even the women also. I mean, I blame the women as much. So but the problem is, the Islamic centers should have mediation before this marriage picks up, and I every month, every week, we do this mediation. So we are preventing that. Prevention is very important.
Yeah.
And what else should we say? Anyway.
Yeah, and are we done with this question? I think you are done. And yeah, the
What
next
was-
one is.
What's the question? If does a man use this?
Oh yeah, the question was, what if the man doesn't accept the Quranic rights of women?
So then she should divorce him if he doesn't. No, I'm not. Because what if he doesn't believe in the Quran? No, I'm just exaggerating that. But one thing that the women need to do, bring their sons up in the right way. The sons should be not deified and over the daughters. The son is so precious to women. In the cultures, in our old cultures, the son is brought up a little bit differently, and the son and the daughters, they should have. Even the prophets has told in his that he would how much he respected and loved girls, and he said there is a quotation, I can't remember it now, but this is the anecdote. I feel that the women mothers should bring up their sons and daughters in an equal manner, so that he doesn't feel that he can do this.
Yeah, thank you.
Misquote the Quran, my gosh. Okay.
Thank you so much. And the next question is, what percentage of funds go to admin? I don't know if you.
Well, that is. Yeah, whoever wants to know, they can call Miswa. We will show them the budget.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
And as I said, that we use only the grant monies for operating costs. We have 3 case managers and 1 executive director. I'm the volunteer executive director, but our rent, phone, everything is paid by the grant monies.
Great. And the other question is similar to this one. It says, can you please provide how to reach Dr. Shamim Ibrahim? So is there any, can we say any website or any number now that they can reach out to?
Yeah. Our case manager will put it on there.
Yeah, if you can put it on the chat box, please. So whoever is asking, she says, I have a friend that she needs her advice. So,
I just got a call from Missouri. We are known everywhere. We've got the last client that we got, she came from Indiana. Now I got a call from Missouri that this woman is trying to escape, blah, blah, blah. So we have our contacts all over the United States. We give them, we have our point persons. We have lawyers in different places, all volunteers. And we help Virginia, Houston, Dallas, you name it. We have clients from there. And even now women have looked on our website and they have called from different countries and come to us.
Great. So you have other branches in different part of the country, or is it?
No, we don't have any branches. That website does this all. They
Oh.
find our number, they find our email, and they come. If they can't pay for the airfare, we will pay the airfare.
Perfect. Great. And the brothers and sisters, those who ask, it's in the chat box now. The number is you can see it, inshallah. The phone numbers, and then the website is niswainc.org. So that way you can reach out to Dr. Shamim and Niswa, inshallah.
And I assure the men that we are sympathetic to them too. Don't think that because we are talking about domestic violence, it is only one-sided.
Yeah.
Mediation is what I
mention. Thank you so much.
And anybody who sees something going wrong in a family, please try to, give help. Tries to put some sense in that family. Be a friend to them before something happens like this. Before the breakup.
Yes, great. And there's another question. It's kind of a long question, but if you have time, I will quickly read for you. It says, combating societal norms that have considered women as second class from the beginning, with passages such as those in Genesis of the Bible stating Eve was at fault for causing Adam and her to be banned from heaven, to cultural understandings of our faith, have led many cultures to follow or use weak hadith that claim men have the right to hit their spouse. What tools or programs are used to re-educate society about this dominant narrative toward women? I think this is a great question. It's not only for Niswa, but also for the Islamic centers or the masajid. This is a great point.
Yeah, but
we have some khutbas on this topic as well.
Right, great. But the first thing about this concept of Eve from the rib concept, the myth of the rib. This is what we have to clarify and get it out of our thinking. We have been affected by that because the Eve was born out of the rib of Adam. That's the thing. And I can send you a list of women authors of Islam. If anybody wants, they can call my office and we will send them. They must read those. Dr. Aziza Al-Hibri, she was professor of Islamic studies at Richmond University, and she has Salama is her legal office in there, and they could give advice on any Islamic question men or women can ask. But we have imported much of the thinking from Christianity, and that if we read the Quran carefully, we should just expel it. In my opinion.
Yeah, there's no such a verse in the Quran. It's definitely from the Israeliyat, coming from the Judeo-Christian ideology. So maybe, as she mentioned, that some of the so-called ahadith is the problem, I guess. So
excuse me, Dr. Maher Batut would say many times that there were only 25 hadiths that musaddiqa, but and any hadith that does not that is contradictory to the Quran should be rejected. We have to use our brain.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much, Dr. Shamim. It was such a wonderful session. Now looks like our brothers and sisters are asking for more. Hopefully in the future we can have one more, maybe even more, inshallah, sessions. That would be wonderful.
Thank you so much, Brother Asim. I appreciate your way. I'm a Zoom. I'm fearful of Zoom, but today I'm happy.
It worked perfectly, and I really love the background. It's like, I know, even though it's hot these days, but it gives me that breeze and cool looking background. I don't know if you can see your background. Nice.
Oh, who got the background? You did.
Yeah.
I was wondering why we have that.
Yeah, yes,
my case manager, Zeba is
I was wondering if you're not in California. Here it's, you know, night, or it's bright.
You know, I told her that, it makes me fearful of Zoom and all that. So she put that to calm me down. She is my therapist.
It's such a beautiful background, alhamdulillah, soothing.
Yeah, I was wondering, I thought it was from the Islamic Center. Okay.
Great, alhamdulillah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Shamim. It's always great to see you, inshallah. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Take care. Good night, inshallah. And dear brothers and sisters, we are going to pray Salatul Isha, inshallah. Let me put the screen for you. Prepare the screen for you. Sorry.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدا الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة وبعث مقام محمودا الذي وعدته إنك لا تخلف الميعاد الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك ربك فحدث. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الصراط المستقيم. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. الله أكبر. سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. السلام عليكم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله. استغفر الله. استغفر الله العظيم الذي لا إله إلا هو. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام تبارك يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الله لا إله إلا هو الحي القيوم لا تأخذه سنة ولا نوم له ما في السماوات وما في الأرض من ذا الذي يشفع عنده إلا بإذنه يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم
ولا يحيطون بشيء من علمه إلا بما شاء وسع كرسيه السماوات والأرض ولا يؤوده حفظهما وهو العلي العظيم. صدق الله العظيم. سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله سبحان الله. الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله. لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له، له الملك وله الحمد، يحيي ويميت وهو على كل شيء قدير. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على رسولنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا اغفر لنا ولوالدينا وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم اشف مرضانا وارحم موتانا. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات. آمين والحمد لله رب العالمين. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. آمن الرسول بما أنزل إليه من ربه والمؤمنون كل آمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله لا نفرق بين أحد من رسله وقالوا سمعنا وأطعنا غفرانك ربنا وإليك المصير. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها لها ما كسبت وعليها ما اكتسبت. ربنا لا تؤاخذنا إن نسينا أو أخطأنا ربنا ولا تحمل علينا إصرا كما حملته على الذين من قبلنا ربنا ولا تحملنا ما لا طاقة لنا به واعف عنا واغفر لنا وارحمنا أنت مولانا فانصرنا على القوم الكافرين. صدق الله العظيم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. آمين. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept our prayers, our du'as, dear brothers and sisters. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great night. Sleep well, inshallah. Until I see you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.